Welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. We are joined by basketball guru expert, Coach Van Pettaway. Coach, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. This is a great day that he has given us, and I'm rejoicing and doing everything I can to show the world that he is the one, and he's given us another day. And I'm happy to be here.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's a day after the UConn Buzzsaw completes Chapter 2, and we had the champions crowned from the women's division. It's an end of a season, but what could be, in UConn's case, yet to be continued from the men's side of things, Coach.
Right, because they have a very young team, and they have an opportunity to repeat. I don't think Coach Hurley is going anywhere, so I think everything will be intact. You know, a lot of people are looking at that Kentucky job thinking that's a plum and that he might be a candidate for that, but I don't see that happening. And so far he has not said anything. He's happy because he knows he has created the right culture there at UConn, and he can do it again. You know, back-to-back titles, the first time in over 20 years that has happened. So my hat's off to them. They have shown from day one that they were the team to beat when it comes to the men's side of college basketball, and he's done it with experienced guys. You know, he doesn't go out and get the one-and-done guys. He gets regular people who are looking to stay in school and develop, and he has shown that is the recipe that has helped him put together 2 back-to-back titles.
Absolutely. And with that being also recognized and established, you can't help but look at the true numbers that took place from the women's side of things throughout this tournament.
Oh, right. Oh, now women's college sports period is on the rise, and what Don Staley and her ladies did, the South Carolina Gamecocks, man, this has been a fantastic year for her to go undefeated. And when you look at her record, she's only lost 2 in 3 years. She's only lost 2 games. I think she is positioning herself to be considered one of the best of all time. This is her 3rd title. She's one behind the lady from Stanford. So she's doing it, and they do it with defense. I mean, they put Caitlin Clark in a box. They gave her an opportunity to do her thing. They shut off everybody else, and they put together a tremendous game. And then when you look at the viewership, over 18 million people saw that championship game. And so it's a great day for women's athletics. It's a great day for women's basketball. And here's the good thing. Don Staley has enough young people in her stables that they got a chance to do this again next year.
Yes, sir. Well, that was going to be the next question, Coach. With the rise of, in particular, women's sports, and we know the emphasis is on basketball, can you see this trend sustaining itself? Yes, they have a plethora of stars throughout the system, but do you see this thing sustaining itself with or without the star power?
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, when you look at stars, all of the young stars you got coming back. Look at Juju out at Southern Cal. You look at South Carolina's team and look at LSU. They got young players. You got Johnson at LSU. You got people that are returning for South Carolina. So the stars are still there. All they're losing is Caitlin. They're losing Caitlin. You know, the NC2A's all-time leading scorer, but there are other people on the horizon that I think will pique the interest of the basketball world when it comes to basketball. And then the other thing that we better look at now, you got the Olympics coming up where there will be a lot of female athletes that are going to be going for the gold for the United States. And so women's sports, women's athletics, it's just on the rise. And 2024 is just going to be, I think, the year of the ladies.
Okay. Now, Coach, it's ironic that you would bring up Miss Caitlin, of course, out of Iowa. Sensational career, definitely going to be drafted in the first pick of the WNBA, which the draft will be coming up pretty soon. But from my vantage point, and I hate to be like Debbie Downer, but I guess part of my purpose is to call it like I see it when I can see it, right? And that this has been something that surfaced up, even though sports has been known as a neutralizer, but this became somewhat of a black and white issue with Caitlin and her quest for the championship. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No. I agree with it. Mainstream media made it that way. You know, they're the ones that put her on that pedestal, and no matter who they went up against, it was obvious that they were leaning towards Iowa and Caitlin in her quest for the scoring title. And then I think that you got to really look at this now. True enough, she on the scoring side, she has put up the points. But here's where the asterisk has to come in. She's doing all this with a 3-point line. The ladies like Woodard, some of the records that were passed, like they say she broke Pete Maverick's record. There was no 3-point line back then. So they scored all their points, and the most they could get on the shot was 2. Now she's using the 3-point line. So I think the quest, I think there should be an asterisk when it comes to some of the records. I think they have to be separated.
Okay.
I think that the people that put up all the points when there was no 2-point line, I think they should stand alone and then let her come back, and she's the king of the 3-point line. And I think that's what should happen when it comes to the record books. But but now she earned every point that she made. It was not her fault that they didn't have the 2-point line back then. I mean,
that was my next question. When we look even in the NBA factor, I don't want to change too drastically. Do you feel that same way about LeBron and Steph Curry and the points that they've accumulated?
Right. Yes, I do. I do, because you got different eras of basketball on all levels. So I think that the records for different eras should stay and be maintained. And then when the rules change and you got things going a different way, then those records should be separate. That's just my opinion.
It kind of adds, and I'm going to get back to our women's point of view in just a second. When it comes to the NBA, I know we all look and recognize Michael Jordan as the GOAT, but I always look at the GOAT as Bill Russell if you count in hardware.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
If you count hardware, now
if you look at the championship, yes, it's a clean knockout.
Yes, sir. Because now Russell was known for defensive paralysis versus the scoring, and he did it as a player, coach, and everything else. And so I always, there is nobody like Mike, but there was nobody like Bill neither, sir.
There was
nobody like Bill. I'm going to jump back. I'm going to bring it home now to Huntsville, Alabama. You had a lot of people don't look at it as a major move, but if you're swag bound like we are, you've had a huge move over the weekend, man. And bring us up to speed of what you know about your latest women's basketball coach.
Well, Miss Dawn Thornton, who the former head coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff, is now has a new zip code. She is now one of the true Bulldogs. She's on the real heel now.
I'll receive that one, Miss Coach. I'll receive that one.
Yeah. On Saturday, Dawn Thornton was announced and presented to the audience as the new women's basketball coach here at Alabama A&M. Unfortunately, I was not there. I was still in Phoenix when this took place. But I'm happy to receive her on campus. I'm going to get up there this week to try to meet her, see her. Now, I've met her over the years, but I'll welcome her to town. And she's now the head of the Bulldog clan. But she's got a lot of work left to do now, because 4 of the young ladies that came in with Coach Margaret Richards have jumped in the portal, sir. So her job is to try to convince those ladies to remain, because you're talking about all-conference performer in Simmons. You're talking about freshman of the year in Parker. You're talking about the league's top rebounder in Wilson. And then you're talking about one of the top seniors in the league, Deion Burgeon. So she's got her work cut out to try to convince those young ladies to remain and be a part of what she has projected for Alabama A&M.
Well, you know, in the world of college free agency, when she announced that she would be headed to Alabama A&M, there were a couple of key players from Pine Bluff who hit the portal as well. So who knows, maybe they can do a little mixing and matching and see if she can create a little bulldog bite on the heel in Huntsville.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Coach, with all the moves that are going on, and we know that all this is triggered from the deep end of the pool, if you would, on the Power 4 structure of collegiate athletics, it brings to attention, we know that the NCAA rolling strong, the NIT, WNIT, and by the way, I like to recognize my hometown, St. Louis Billikens, for winning on the women's division. With the potential expansion of the NCAA tournament, some say leave it alone, others say a little bit more is better. What does the future look like for the NIT, CBI, CIT, WNIT, and where we stand right now as far as postseason? A lot of teams are turning down invites due to whatever the mechanism is. Do you see this being a potential challenge for non-NCAA postseason play in the future?
Yes, I do, because we don't know how things are going to shake out until we find out exactly what the NC2A is going to do in terms of expansion. I think once they create a model, or they give us the formula of how they're going to do things, then everybody else, all of the other postseason tournaments, then they'll have to jump in the gear. But we already been hearing that the NIT is going to scale down. They're not going to be a big tournament in the future. And this year, I don't know if we'll ever see another year like this when it comes to postseason play. Not only did the NIT have a problem putting together a field, the CIT, which I'm a part of, we had a big problem in trying to field a team. We only had a 9-team tournament, and that's the lowest that we've ever had. And then you look at the CBI. CBI had a hard time filling the field. A lot of it had to do with, because the NC2A moved their calendar, this is one of the latest times that we've ever played the national championship game. The national championship weekend was always the last weekend in March. And what that did, that put you in a scenario where schools were still in session. But when you moved it back a week, you put that thing right at spring break nationwide. And so what happened to us in the CIT, some of the teams that we wanted in the SWAC, by the time they hit campus, it was spring break. And those kids, you know what they were going to do. Basketball players have been on campus since August. So their first break is spring break. And so those kids were gone. When we called coaches to say, well, you know, if you gotten to us a day early, our kids are gone. It's going to be hard to try to get them back. So we had teams that normally would have participated in the CIT. They didn't have their players. Their players were gone. So I think that created a problem. So I think if we go back and set the calendar, reset the calendar like it used to be, I think that will help. With schools still being in session, you will have more of those players on campus instead of going home, and then you might be able to field some of these teams.
Well, you know, something else I was thinking as you were speaking, Coach, that could possibly help. Like I say, you're the guru. You're the expert. I just throw up suggestions from time to time. You tell me if it's a slam dunk or I just blind and assist. If you would have a destination already pre-selected, because I see part of the challenge is like you don't know exactly where the campus is going to be, and I know it's predicated on how some of these schools are doing in their own deals. But if you had a general place, maybe even a smaller venue where it won't interrupt with the D1 level of competition, where you had a destination that these are the 2 or 3 spots that we'll have leading to our championship. Do you think that could help rectify some of these challenges?
Well, to be honest, that's the only thing that saved the CIT this year. We had a pod. You had a pod. Tarleton State had 3 other teams to come in there. So you had doubleheader games at Tarleton State. Now the NIT, they're already thinking about that. They're telling people in advance, look, we're going to Vegas next year. You know, when the NIT ran into problems when they lost Madison Square Garden. You know, right. Madison Square Garden was the big draw for the NIT. Everybody, they want to go to the Mecca. So if you join the NIT, this is the semifinals and finals. We already know that they're in New York City. So there was a destination for the NIT. So now what they're doing, they're saying, hey, Las Vegas, well, now that the NC2A has allowed schools to participate and this gambling thing is not an issue anymore, they've already announced that they're going to be doing exactly what you're talking about. We're bringing everybody to Vegas. And so we just got to see how that's going to work out.
Okay. Now, if you were to look into your crystal ball from what you know of the landscape of the CIT tournament, what do you think would be the hub headquarter, in your opinion, that would make this work for you guys?
Well, I think they should look at Atlanta. They should look at Atlanta just like the SWAC is doing. A lot of the headquarters for the CIT, all that's on the East Coast. So stay on that eastern seaboard. Go to Atlanta. Bring teams to Atlanta. Have use Atlanta as a hub and as a pod to play these games, and I think that would help.
Okay, it would be easy access in and out with Atlanta and its the travel accommodations that they have, and could be something in the future. So maybe the SWAC was ahead of the curve, Coach, by relocating everything to the ATL. What do you think, man?
Well, I think only time will tell. And I think what has to happen, we got to do like the CIAA. You got to pick a spot and be in that spot for 4 to 5 years. I think that's what has been the success of the CIAA. I think that model should be used by a lot of people. Because they decide in advance what city they're going to go to, and they make a commitment to that city for 4 or 5 years. And I think that some of the other conferences need to look at that more.
Now, do you think that the place could be too large for these tournaments, even some of these larger tournaments? I have a number in mind, what I think is a really good, comfortable number where you can still make a little money and have that electricity that's desired in these postseason games as far as capacity of a gym. What number would that be for you, Coach?
For the SWAC, I think we should be looking at about 6,000. So I think we should be looking at venues that seat no more than the maximum be around 8,000 people, and then you build your tournament. You wait until that becomes too small for you before you move on. But going into these 15 and 20,000 seat arenas, that's not what we need. And I'm just throwing out 6 because I don't know the last time we have put 6,000 people in one place for a SWAC tournament game.
Okay. And what about the CIT venue?
Well, the CIT was based. See, here's the problem with the CIT. You're looking to try to use a home team site, and a lot of times those venues are not available because most of the basketball arenas across the country are multi-purpose venues, and a lot of times they have other things already scheduled, so your home facility is not available. And I think that's going to always be a part of it for all these tournaments.
Okay.
So, having the venues available.
But if you were to zero in on a place like Atlanta, as you mentioned, you could probably get ahead of that possibly with the schedulers and planners of that destination to see what dates will be available and kind of measure out your tournament that way, huh?
Yeah, right. You could because To believe it or not, one of the other committees I was working on, where they were talking about HBCU national championship, Atlanta was our destination. You know, they dreamed of having a tournament for both men and women, with all games being played in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be the best time frame for that to be able to be pulled off with success?
Well, for us, when I say us, the HBCU side of it, they were looking at the week of the men's Final Four. In other words, you start that Tuesday, from Tuesday to Friday, you could have your national championship in Atlanta, and it would not interfere with any other activities for the Final Four week, because Final Four is Saturday. It's Saturday with your championship game on Monday, and so that week of the Final Four, you're not competing against anything else.
Okay. The only thing I could possibly see, you might be competing with the women's side of the NCAA, and with the numbers, do you think that would be a wise matchup?
Well, the women would play. The women play Friday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Friday, Sunday. So that Friday, the Friday of your championship game, yeah, you would run into trouble now with the popularity of women's basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, you would be competing for viewership. Yep.
So, as they say, to be continued on the future of postseason play for collegiate basketball, right?
Right, but I think when you look at the time schedule, you might have to just adjust your time, because you're looking at one game. Well, you got a doubleheader game. We just have to move them up, because the women are going to get prime time. Your games wouldn't be in prime time.
Okay.
So you can play on the same day.
Yes, sir. Well, there's always a will and a way if you sit down and just, as they say, work it out, right?
There you go.
Well, Coach, speaking of working out, I know it's a sad time of year for you. Basketball season on the collegiate level is officially done. Now all you have left, unfortunately, is that NBA stuff.
No, I still got collegiate baseball. I've got to get up to Bulldog Field and watch some of the SWAC teams come in. And
yes, sir.
I got softball and baseball still left. So
okay. Well, we will bring you in on some of our baseball talk. You know, and we got some football. We know the spring games will be wrapping up toward the end of the month, and then we'll be having the grades out for football season. It seems like the time just continually moving on us, Coach. As they say, time waits for no man.
There you go. And we not only did we announce, we had a great day on the Hill this past Saturday, because you had a softball game led off the day. You had a baseball game. Then you had spring football. In between all of that, you had the announcement of Coach Don Thornton coming to Alabama A&M. So it was a big day on the Hill, and from my understanding, everybody was happy. Everybody enjoyed themselves, and they made it to where you had an opportunity to see your softball team, your baseball team, and your football team in the same day. So it was a long day for everybody. And on top of that, they had a great a large showing for the car show that they had also. So it was a great day for Bulldog Athletics.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Coach, as they say in baseball terminology, we'll have you on deck for some Diamond Talk coming up real soon. He is our basketball expert guru, Coach Van Pettaway. Coach, I want to give you some closing thoughts and comments as we go to wrap this segment up.
Right. This has been an outstanding year when it comes to basketball. Men and women. Grambling State has proven that they have one of the top programs out there on both the men and women's side, as their women participated in the WNIT also. So it's been an awesome year. I'm grateful and I'm thankful for being able to be a part of it and see the SWAC grow. I look forward to the SWAC tournament being in Atlanta, and I want to continue to encourage you to continue to accept your assignment. You're doing an outstanding job with it, because the things that being discussed and talked about. I think our society needs this. And I want to encourage you, Dr. Prince, to continue doing what you're doing because it's sorely needed.
Well, we thank you very much, sir. Thank you for being a part of our movement where we are, they say, the voice of student athletics, and we are serving the community through faith and athletics. He is Mr. Head Basketball Coach Forever. I don't care if you got a whistle or not. Coach Van Pettaway. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, reminding you that you can follow me on X at The Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and do visit our website at obnradio.com. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.